This week in Post, how small things can add up to big changes. Hi everybody, I'm Scott Davenport. Welcome to In Post. Thanks for joining me today. This is the first time watching one of my videos. Thanks for giving me a shot. I hope you like what you see and you'll subscribe to the channel. So today I'm going to talk about how small changes added up can have a pretty dramatic result on your photo. And that is kind of a photographic style of mine. I'll make, small targeted changes. Sometimes it's the whole photo, sometimes it's areas, and build them up to, create a final piece of work. And that's not something I do on every photo, but ones that I really like and I want to work on and really bring out color, bring out detail, or whatever it might be. I'll spend the time to do smaller targeted changes to add up. And for this photo, you saw this earlier this week on In the Field, this river shot of Kyoto. That's exactly what I did here. And you can see I've got a bunch of different filters. I'm in On One Photo Raw here. I did my basic processing over in Lightroom, and then added a bunch of filters. You can see they've all got different types of masks on them, and I have a bunch of local adjustments too. And so what I thought I would do in this video is just kind of turn them all off and then just turn them on one by one so you can see how the photo got built up. I'm not going to go into the masking and why is it a contrast filter, why is it a glow filter, unless it makes sense to explain that as I'm turning things on and off. I have many other videos on the techniques and how to do this, but I thought I'd just show you the sum total of when you add all these things together. What do you get? So let's go ahead and turn off all of these local adjustments. And then, whoops, open that one up. Let's turn that off. And then I'll go back into the settings here and do the same thing. Turn off all of these, right? So this is the photo that I came out of Lightroom with. My basic adjustments, just got, exposure looking good, and the histogram was all in order, but it's still, kind of flat. The color's not there, and started with contrast. So I wanted some dynamic contrast. That's something I add to almost all my photos. And you can see the mask here. You can see the pop in the buildings. This is really where I want your eyes to go. So this is getting all the contrast, and the rest of it's getting some. Then we went on to color. So the first was adding some color up into the sky here, and I masked away from the stairs. The stairs already have a very blue cast to them. There's a lot of blue up in the sky, and behind me, behind the camera, there was no color in the sky. It was just that bluish gray of the evening, and that's bouncing around off all this slate stuff. So I didn't want to amplify color here, so masked that away. Another color enhancements, then you'll see that rise in the temperatures and the warmth up in the sky here. So before that and after, right? Subtle change. I'm not even sure how much of that's going to show up through compressed internet video, but there is a change there. Wanted more contrast. Pop those buildings more, right? Before, after. Buildings were a little brighter, a little crisper. Another targeted adjustment. Then I did the opposite. I added a glow to everything except the buildings. So before, after, right? Before, after. That one's a lot more dramatic. That certainly changed the mood of the photo tremendously. And the last thing I did was a vignette, but I did that after doing all the local adjustments. So let's first just kind of recap here. So this is all the settings. I'm going to take this down to 0. So this was out of Lightroom, basic processing, just getting exposure correct, and then adding up those filters. And you saw how those slowly stacked up. Not too bad, right? Pretty good. Move over to local adjustments. And so what are we doing here? Let's open these ones up because these are a little less obvious from just the word adjustment. This one's a temperature adjustment. And so you can see some warmth up in those buildings there. See? Before and after. Next one up, we are lowering exposure. And it's kind of like almost like a double vignette. I'll hit the O key so you can see the mask overlay. A little hard to see in that mode. Let's take a look at it in grayscale. You can see masking away, full strength, partial strength, and then nothing. So getting a lot of darkness around the edges, some, and then nothing on those buildings. So this is already kind of like a vignette happening here. Next adjustment, we're taking down saturation. Look at this horribly dark blue that's down here in this corner. We'll turn on that adjustment and we'll take that away. Again, I don't want to draw your eye away with that very unnatural looking blue. Next adjustment, kind of doing the same thing, now darkening that area. Just downplaying a little further, and I don't want your eyes going down there. I want you guys having your attention up here. Next adjustment, downplaying this, the bank. Watch this bank here. Before and after. Got that a little darker. Once again, reinforcing the buildings. Now this one's super subtle. This one is this pane of this building right here. I wanted to brighten that up a little bit. So tiny bit of exposure, very just painted in right there. That was all great. And then finally finished it off with the vignette. So in the end of all that, we had before and after. So the tip of the week is that small changes can add up to big things. And that's really all there is to it. So it doesn't every adjustment doesn't have to be this, grand sweeping change across your photo. It can be small, it can be targeted. Just keep working on it and bring your photo all the way to conclusion. And with that, hope you've enjoyed this week's In Post. My name's Scott Davenport, and happy shooting.